Sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest lessons. This is the story of a boy who thought money defined life, until a single dollar turned his world upside down. In a quiet American town, where the sun bathed streets in gold and the smell of fresh bread mingled with the aroma of brewing coffee, there stood a humble diner called Maggie's Corner. It wasn't flashy, just wooden tables, checkered curtains, and a flickering neon sign, but inside, life pulsed in every corner. Maggie, a woman in her late 40s, moved through the diner like a conductor leading an orchestra. Her hands were worn and calloused, but her eyes sparkled with quiet fire, the fire of someone who had fought for every inch of her life. One Saturday morning, a sleek black car rolled to a stop outside. The engine hummed, demanding attention. Out stepped Ethan, a wealthy teenager, dressed in designer clothes and an air of arrogance so thick you could almost touch it. He glanced at the diner and muttered with a smirk.
"Guess this is homey enough."
He pushed open the door, letting the bell announce his arrival like a trumpet. Ethan's friends followed, laughing, whispering, comparing the diner to five-star hotels they'd been to. But Maggie didn't flinch. She kept moving, wiping tables, pouring coffee, serving customers, each action deliberate, efficient, and full of care. Ethan sat at a corner table, arms crossed, judging everything: the cracked tiles, the faded menus, the smell of eggs and pancakes. He looked around, expecting the mundane, and perhaps even looking for a reason to mock it. But Maggie had a story in her eyes that said more than words ever could. She had not always been the owner. 25 years ago, she was a young mother with nothing, no savings, no degree, a baby to care for, and only one borrowed dollar in her pocket. That dollar bought a loaf of bread that night, and, unknowingly, planted the seed of her future. Every morning she woke up before dawn, cleaned floors, washed dishes, and learned the rhythm of the diner. Every coin earned was a victory. Every exhausting night was a step forward. And when the aging owner finally retired, he sold the diner to her for one symbolic dollar. But the real cost had already been paid, in effort, tears, and unwavering determination. Ethan's gaze slowly shifted. He watched Maggie serve a tired truck driver a warm plate of pancakes, chatting gently, making him laugh despite the exhaustion etched on his face. He saw a single mother sit quietly at a booth, her child playing with a toy car, and Maggie brought her coffee with a smile that seemed to carry warmth far beyond the cup. Ethan's chest tightened. For the first time, he felt something he didn't recognize: humility. Days later, after returning to the diner, Ethan found himself staying behind to help. He washed dishes, swept floors, poured coffee, and cleaned tables. Each task felt strange, unfamiliar, and yet satisfying. He began to understand that dignity was earned in the quiet moments of hard work, not measured by luxury cars or designer shoes. Late one afternoon, as the diner emptied and sunlight streamed through the windows, Ethan placed a single coin on the counter. He looked up, eyes soft, and said,
"I see now."
Maggie smiled knowingly. She leaned closer, eyes twinkling with quiet triumph.
Sometimes, the smallest things teach the biggest lessons.
Years passed. Ethan carried that lesson with him like a compass, guiding his choices, shaping his heart. The single dollar Maggie once borrowed became more than currency. It became a symbol of perseverance, humility, and the understanding that true wealth lies not in what you have, but in what you do, and how you treat others. The diner continued to thrive, full of life, laughter, and the aroma of fresh coffee. Customers came not only for food but for the lesson Maggie embodied, that every struggle is worthy of respect. And that success built on integrity lasts a lifetime. Sometimes, the smallest gestures hold the power to transform lives. A single dollar, a kind word, a patient heart, these are the things money can never buy. And in that quiet diner, in that sunlit town, the story of one borrowed dollar lived on, teaching all who entered that the true value of life is measured in effort, kindness, and the courage to keep going. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe for more inspiring moral stories that touch the heart.